Hi guys, Charles here. The Old Testament, God said, I have created food for you, and unclean foods is not food for you. Talking about pig and shellfish and a few other things. But the main one, let's talk about pig. God said don't eat it. Man says it's okay not to eat it because the New Testament says so. Well, let's take the scriptures that they say says so. The first scripture, let's talk about Peter. The sheet was let down and unclean foods was placed upon the sheet. And God said, kill and eat. What did Peter say? No. He said, it's unclean food. You told us not to eat it. I'm not eating it. He said, okay, and he did it again. And Peter's like, no, you told me not to. I'm not eating that stuff. He did it a third time. And then Peter's like, no way, Jose. And he didn't eat and kill and eat. He did not. Then all of a sudden, then what did Peter come away with this vision? He didn't come away with, no, now I can eat pork. He did not say that. He said, oh, I understand now. The Gentiles are clean. So that prophecy or the vision was meant to show that now people are clean. The Gentiles are clean, just like the Jews and so on. Not food. He would have walked away with the moment because, oh, we can eat pork now. He would have said that because it was so ingrained in him. Jesus told him, don't eat pork. And he says in the commandments, don't eat pork. He didn't come away with, oh, aha moment, now we can eat pork. People say, oh, that's what that meant. But listen to what Peter said it meant. It meant that the Gentiles was clean. If it meant that pork was clean, he would have been all over the place with all that. He would have said it time and time again because that was a big thing in the Old Testament. Well, the next thing they use, there's a scripture, I believe it's in Mark, that says that God has called all food clean. Now, you'll find it in some Bibles. In some Bibles, you won't find that scripture. The reason is it was added as a footnote by a Jesuit priest that came to reason that it's okay to eat unclean food by what he read. So he put that in there, and that's why it's in there. It's not in the original at all. So it is not good, that scripture, to use that it's okay now to eat pork, because it does not mean that. Now, we have a God that told us time and time again, don't eat pork, don't eat shellfish. And he said this, don't eat it. And what does man do? They eat it. They go against God's law. God says don't eat it. Nowhere in the New Testament it said, now the animals, it's okay to kill and eat them that are unclean. And when he was talking about that he blessed and all the food was good, he wasn't talking about unclean food because everybody knew that they weren't supposed to eat it. He was talking to the Jews, he said, when he said that other scripture. So all through the Old Testament, God punished people for eating pork and shellfish. And so wouldn't you think he would straight out say that now I have changed? They say the character of the animals has changed. No. They say you can pray over the food and it becomes clean. Are you that good of a prayer? I mean, if you pray that well that every time you pray the food becomes clean, then start praying for people to be healed. So it don't mean all that. The food today is unclean. The pork, the pig, the horse, and all kinds of other. Would you eat a human? Huh? If all foods are clean, eat a human. How about a tarantula? You want to eat it? Oh, how about a rat? You want to start eating rats? You want to start eating giraffe? Well, maybe giraffe you might like. But how come you pick out pig as now it's clean and shellfish, but other foods you won't eat? You're like, ooh, that's nasty. Well, if it's in the same category as pig and shellfish, they're filthy animals. They eat scavengers off the bottom of the ocean. Pigs, they eat it. They're scavengers. They will eat anything, even eat themselves. So pick and choose, but we're not very healthy nowadays, now are we? And there's a lot of pork and a lot of things, and plus it's not helped out with all these other number yellow 9 and all this other additives they add into our food. But I think we'd at least consider and think God told us what is food, and he never ever changed his mind. God is solid. He did not change characteristics of the animals, or we can pray over it, or any which way to make it better for our bodies. It is set food for us that we know vegetables and beef and other things are good for you, but in moderation. We got to eat everything in moderation. So if you can show me anything other where it says about clean and unclean foods we can eat, let me know. Food for thought.